My current research question is, what is this? How does the use of demonstrative pronouns in public space construct the authority and ambiguity of language? At this step, I re-examined my line of inquiry and shift my focus to the authority and ambiguity of the language. Among the primary research I have done so far, I started by comparing the situation that is most similar than in public space, public speech. I abstracted from the this of body speech to find out how language expressed naturally. I refer to the linguistic expression of features in sign language. In it, the authority and sense of direction of language and postural expression are gathered through interviews. A visual experiment was conducted to find signs on street and to transform this into a way of discussing the ambiguity of linguistic reference in public space. I took photos of some demonstrative pronouns that appears in public space and analyzed their typography, color, and typeface. By shifting color plates and typeface, I questioned which best expressed authority. Another visual experiment used authoritative color and shapes, adding playful language to show the ambiguity of language. In response to the ambiguity of the boundaries drawn by this pronouns in signage, my visual experiment delineated the demarcation and scope of language, which, although a failure, set a tone for the subsequent thematic identification. I then turned my attention to language, how language could give a feeling while only describing each location with this, by abstracting the maps and words, straining our familiar location and expressing my experience of what it's like to normally see this word as experience as a way of testing the articulation of ambiguous language for specific locations. Review. In the case of literary review, my reading was divided into two main parts. The first part is about language and the second part is about public space. In course in general linguistics, Saussure presents a structural dissection and interpretation of language. The language we use is a convention, and once the language has selected a signal, it cannot be freely replaced by any other. The structure of language is a social product of our language faculty. At the same time, it is also a body of necessary convention adopted by society to enable members of society to use their language faculty. Complex communication requires language to form a closed loop between communicators from mouth to brain. In relation to public space, I learned about the analytical approach to urban space research when I read the book Graphic Design in Urban Environment. Heartland Research Design in Urban Spaces. Urban graphic objects are also pattern and function not only as a graphic language but also pattern language. The graphic design element on the permanent and semi-permanent object in this site provide a unique visual aesthetic for city, which can be evaluated in terms of 5 aspects: graphic, optical, perceptual, mental, and verbal. For practice review, I look for works that express ideas or forms similar to mine. The art and language movement is my key practice-based context that resembles my expression of meaning. Initiated by Terry and Michael, question the critical assumption of mainstream modern art practice and criticism. Artist Nicolai's reflection on language acquisition and multilingual education. Tanya's reconstruction based on language and sound. Nora's performance on language and negotiate social roles and our relationship to consumer goods, political and cultural views. Magda's combination of language and geography, and Laurie Anderson's reflection on the use of language as a defensive weapon. These constitute my source of inspiration. Moreover, I look to interaction design of ideas when considering the language of public spaces. Accuracy and comprehension of language is a vital part of the process. After watching the presentation design in language, I stole some interesting research methods. I map in the user journey of thinking about design as a way of understanding the flow of communication of language and how it is received by the viewer. To summarize my work I have done so far, I have spent the last 2 weeks defining my themes more specifically, subtracting a lot, understand more about the specific aspect I want to express, and define the form of my future development by searching for references together with visual experimentation. In Unit 4, my theme will revolve around the review ambiguous language, trying to generate as much interaction with public space as possible through performances as well as publications and posters, and expecting more people to participate in my work. Preview. In this project, I aim to construct a fluid language system that reveals semantic ambiguity in the information loop from source to recipients and the systematic authority of language expression in public space. The research method I have used so far are interviews, definition, field research, literature, and analysis, which more focus on visual experiment later. The design strategy has evolved from qualitative research on the subject matter through the field research to material and expressive experimentation, and finally to the production, testing, review, refinement, collection, publication, dissemination, and exhibition preparation of the result. The material currently available are labyrinths, and I'm looking forward to the museum reopen to give me more inspiration. The audience I envisage is the street walkers. In multicultural London, they are of different ages, different genders, different ethnicities, but share a common language, English. I hope my work will be commercial and interesting whenever imaginable, allowing new participants of language. My output is ideally of the form of performance and publication. Performance as an immediate emotional expression is not replicable in various contemporary contexts, language expression, and audience comprehension. My schedule will be, from the April to May, I will continue to research, clarify my creative idea, and experiment visual to determine the final presentation. From May to July, I will learn the software needed to produce my output, define the final output target, and write the critical contextual paper. From July to September, I will complete the prototype of final form and continue to produce outcome for printing, testing, and placing test. From October to November, my produced output, place work, receive feedback, and prepare for the exhibition. This is the bibliography I've found so far, with the one I've been read and those awaiting reading currently. Thanks for listening.